Welcome back to Diamond Mountain series on how to do retreat at home. Today we do a series about a video about Lung. Venerable Gäse,
Venerable Sunam.
welcome in my German home. As you can see, in the back is the shelf with the still taped glass windows. So behind this are all my Dharma books. What have we done in the last video? We talked a lot about schedule, how you can make your own schedule, what are the elements of a retreat schedule, how you go into retreat, do deep retreat, and then get out of retreat. And we gave you a few templates for retreat schedule. If you do a 24-hour retreat, if you do retreat and go out to spend a few hours with your family, or if you do some kind of extended practice retreat, practicing in the morning 3 hours, then go to work or spend time with your family all day, and then do a little bit of practice before you go to bed. I hope that helped to make your own schedule. And we hope that you have, when you crafted your schedule, that you have planned a lot of time for relax, doing things you want to do, go outside and look at the blue sky. Because if you don't do that, you might get Lung. And this we will explain in this video. What is Lung? Lung is a Tibetan word and means wind or transmission. In the sense we are using it in this video, or the meaning is that you get an imbalance of your inner winds, and this leads to certain conditions in your body and in your mind, which you should be able to recognize, that you can counteract it when the first signs occur. We don't want to make you panic about Lung, but you need to know what it is, that you can recognize the signs and then just loosen your schedule up and apply the antidote so that you can have a good retreat. What are the signs of Lung?
Thank you, Sunam, for the great introduction about what Lung is. There are two classes of Lung. There's the physical class, and then there's the mental class. So we divide it up into these two. So the first one we're going to talk about is how does it manifest physically for you? Sometimes you'll have a tightness in the chest, difficulty breathing. You get to the point that you can't stand that little bit of dust on the floor, so you have to clean it. You sometimes will get indigestion, get a lot of gas, so that you're burping and passing gas. Headaches is very common. Not being able to sleep is pretty common. Sometimes because you're sitting so long as well, you can get constipated, you can get blocked up, or the opposite can happen. Some people I've seen, especially people who have constant Lung, their hands shake, right? So that can also be a sign. Any kind of tension, there's a lot of bubbles in your pee-pee, which I guess I have a certain amount of Lung all the time because that's pretty common for me. So these are just some of the signs, and that's exactly what they are. They're signs. They're like that watcher when you're meditating. This is the watcher of watching what your body is doing and saying, bing, time to do something if you have some of these signs. It's not like, oh, you don't have to worry about it. It's like, oh, that's a good sign. Let me nip it in the bud. Let me catch it before it gets, serious. And if you stop it at that point, you're just like bringing your mind back in meditation. You won't have any problems. What are some of the mental signs, the behavioral signs?
I would like to add a personal story to your physical signs, because really that not being able to sleep properly was one of the first signs I have normally. And in my first retreat, I thought, oh, now I'm spiritually advanced. I need less sleep. And it was really, I trapped myself in this thing that suddenly I need less sleep. So really be aware and not to misinterpret one of these signs as spiritual achievement like I did. Oh, I admit and confess. And then I really catched it very late because I thought in the beginning, oh, that's because that was always one of my goals. Oh, I need to sleep less. And suddenly it happened. And then I really misinterpreted it. So if you have really trouble to sleep, in my case, it's especially I can sleep in the first moment, but then after 2 hours, I get up and cannot get back to sleep. So that's for me, for example, really a sign of lung.
And so what do you do in that case? What have
Um,
you done personally?
what I do personally when I really catch that, that I try to, I do breathing exercise, which Venerable Gelsi will do with you at the end of the class, because for me that helps a lot, breathing exercise. Because with the, as we know, the spiritual wind, the physical wind, what we think and our breath are tightly connected. So that's for me something which really helps a lot. Yeah. But let's go, sorry.
I know for me that if I start rejoicing, it really helps me to go to sleep. Also, sometimes if I can't go back to sleep, I'll just go sit on my cushion for a while and just do a nice gratitude meditation.
Okay.
And that really helps. That's something. And as with not being able to sleep, if you see yourself not eating, again, that's something you want to watch for. It, as we said before in other videos, this is not a time to fast. Make yourself eat something, right? You will start, if you're in a long retreat, you will start to eat a lot less because your body really doesn't need that as much as we eat normally. But really also use that as a sign that you may be getting lung. And we'll talk about some of the antidotes to lung as we progress in this teaching. So what are some of the mental signs? Crying, obsessively,
laughing obsessively, giggling like a teenager, my favorite. And really between the two, 5 minutes giggling and the next 5 minutes crying, that's one of the signs. Or obsessive behavior, like you mentioned, oh, there is a piece of thing on the floor and you have to get it out, or I need to clean the bathroom now, or I need another book for my retreat, which I haven't with me. This obsessive behavior that you want something now, and you cannot put your mind to rest if you don't get it. Some people have really panic or anxiety. I remember once I was the emergency call for a person in a retreat, and it was very, very hard to talk her into not leaving the retreat space because she was totally anxious and paranoid, and I didn't want to drive her for 2 hours on the street. It's really, this is a very advanced state of lung. So try to catch it before that you don't even get in a state where you are so driven by one thought that you cannot resist anymore.
Suna?
Yeah.
Can I say something about that?
Oh, sure, always.
So I was doing a 3-month solo retreat. It was the first long retreat I had done on my own. And it was after separating from my husband. And I went into this retreat, and for the first 6 weeks, all I did was obsess on the separating after 19 years of marriage. And I couldn't stop, and I couldn't stop, and I couldn't stop. And I was getting more and more lungy. And so in the middle of the retreat, I just stopped my meditation sessions.
Yeah.
And I had a big pile of mending, which I mended all of the clothes that had been sitting there for months and months. I read an inspiring book. I went for walks. I slept. And that helped to break that lung. So again, you know, these are all signs, and using them as signs, like the watcher going ding, 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 you need to do something. So that's one of my experiences with lung and how I dealt with it.
I can confirm that doing more physically helps a lot. Like for me, it's walking, which helps a lot, looking in the blue sky. I also started, to your advice, I remember doing the offerings with the rice, which is something with your hands. You can move physically, you can touch something. And it's like, lung is sometimes like being imprisoned in your mind, and it runs around, and then getting out and doing something with your body or with your hands helps a lot.
So what are some of the other signs?
That you get restless, that you cannot sit, your mind and your body like always moving around, not being able to sit, or at the same with the mind, it goes around. You cannot concentrate in your meditation anymore. You struggle a lot with bringing your mind back. You might not even be able to stay longer than 5 seconds on your meditation object. So these are signs, this restlessness in body and mind, or the inability to enjoy anything. You don't enjoy your practice anymore. You don't enjoy your food anymore. You don't enjoy doing yoga. You don't enjoy sitting on the porch and relaxing. It's this inner inability to relax, because that is what leads to lung. And when you notice that your retreat has no joy, you might be in lung. That's also one of the first signs that you don't do your practice with joy. Any signs for you, especially regarding joy or relaxing?
For me?
Yeah.
I would say more, yeah, it's like wanting this effort, this, I got to do this. I want to do this. I want to see emptiness directly now. And it's this pushing too much that takes the joy out of it and then causes one not to be able to focus. That's my personal experience on the object. And my Lama constantly said, relax, 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 have fun, because it's in those times when you're relaxed that the doors open in your mind.
Yeah.
That's my experience.
I can confirm. If you try to reach this personal goal, oh, I want to have a good meditation, this fosters it, the lung, so incredible. And that's why one of the first antidote is always to remember what is your motivation. For whom are you doing this retreat? It's not for you. It's not for you that you are the great meditator at the end of the day. It's to benefit other people. What are other antidotes? The easy ones, if you see your first signs.
Well, I was beginning to think more along the lines of, not the antidotes quite yet, but like when we meditate, we're going to have a little bit of lung, right? We're making efforts in meditating and we're concentrating. And that's going to bring the winds in. And we want that little edge of lung, right? We want this excitement, but not overexcitement, right? So a little bit of lung is helpful, right? It's a sign that you're building up the wind. And what we want to do then is to direct that wind onto our meditation, right? So it's like driving a car. A little too much lung, not enough lung, we can't get on the cushion, and finding ourselves right in the middle, that same middle way again, right? So it's like, okay, let's not let it get out of control. Let's bring it back. Let's not get dull. Let's bring it back, constantly doing that. And everything in retreat, right, is magnified. And so we are hypersensitive to what's going on. So that's just something that I was thinking about before going into the antidotes. I don't know about you.
I think it depends on how much lung you have already in your personality or in your energy. And if you go into retreat with a personality or a energy state where you already have lung, I wouldn't say that fostering lung would be a good thing. So I think it depends on which kind of personality you are. If you are the personality always has goals and wants to reach and works for your goals, you might be very, very attentive from the beginning. If you are a more relaxed person, a more slow moving person in the sense of how you react to changes, then you might to want this extra little bit lung, because this fosters your, as you said, your interest, your being in the meditation.
Just made me think of a special word that we use sometimes. It's nar. It's like you've got this excitement in your meditation and you're focused and it's bright and you're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, right? And
Yeah.
you're like right there.
Yeah.
So what are some of the antidotes? We keep saying, go outside and look at the sky, because it expands our vision internally and externally. It opens us up. If you live in a place like I do, where there's a beautiful night sky and the stars, it's a wonderful place to go outside at night. Hot baths and hot showers, especially if you take a hot shower and let it pound on the back, can be very helpful. Going for walks, as Sunam has said, you know, that's her best antidote. For me too, going for long walks. In these times, we have to be very careful about that and take care of others when we go, when and if we can go for walks. Otherwise, you know, do some calisthenics, do some yoga, do something physical to get your body moving. Also, don't cause anybody else stress if you're feeling stressed out.
Oh, is this a karmic correlation?
It is.
And my favorite one, eat oily food.
Eat oily foods. And then also Ken Rinpoche's cure for lung was to mix ghee, or I've heard sesame oil works really well, with ground up Tara healing incense, which I'm sure you can get online, and then you rub it on your body. I have one friend who swears by this treatment. When we were talking about food, we recommend oily foods, cheese, well buttered popcorn, things like that. So we've talked about the signs of when wind is arising and not going where we want it to. So now I'm going to talk just briefly about the signs of wind is arising. You're having lung and it's going into the right place, where your winds are going into the right place. You are filled with gratitude. You are content with everything you have. You're peaceful, you're calm. You have a large vision of serving the world, or how you're going to continue to serve the world. Everything that's kind of opposite of what we've talked about. So whether you're in meditation, or you're cooking your dinner, or you're getting ready for bed, whatever it is, you're having fun doing it. And it's just joyful. It's filled with joy. It's like the ability to go through the day gracefully with joy.
Yeah.
Like it's the perfection of, it's joyous effort. Joyous effort. It's that perfection, right? And so then you know that, oh, I'm feeling a little giddy, but I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. And I'm benefiting everybody. Don't worry about that, right? That little edge keeps that joy going. It's just when we let it go a little too far, like when we get upset, we obsess on something somebody said 6 months ago to us, and we're still angry at them, and we keep playing that movie over and over and over again, right?
Yeah. You know
I think every meditator knows that one, you know. Or I wish I had done this, or I wish I hadn't said that, or if I hadn't said that, maybe this wouldn't have happened. These are things that come up in retreat, right? So it's like, yeah, I wish that didn't happen. I forgive myself. I forgive them. And let it go. Let it go. So, what is the best and strongest antidote? It's to have a motivation to help everyone in the world, to be free of suffering, to be free of pain, to have a life filled with joy and beauty, right?
Yeah.
So dream big. Dream big. That's the antidote. So let's close our eyes. Put your attention, sit up straight. Place your attention at the tip of your nose and watch your breath as it goes out and in. Making the exhale a little bit longer. You think you have exhaled all the air you have, and then just push a little bit more out. This also allows your tummy to pull in a little bit, which helps to straighten your back even more. And let the winds come into the central channel, which is where you want them. Keep exhaling longer than your inhale. This will help the winds not to build up in your body. Then see yourself in your meditation space, on your cushion or your chair, whatever you're sitting on. And just for a small warm up, see yourself breathing out peace to everyone in the world. This inner peace that is within you. First to the people in your house, your apartment building. See it touch them and free them from all fear and all suffering. And then it goes out through the walls into your neighborhood. And as you have those long exhales, it goes out even further. blessing them. To be free of fear, to be free of suffering, to have everything they need and want. And then it goes out to your whole city, your country, beyond your country's borders, and keeps going till it touches every being in this world and the worlds beyond. And bring your mind back into your room, back into yourself. And then take 3 long exhales. May all beings have happiness in its causes. May all beings be free of suffering and its causes. May we treat each other equally. And may we have a perfect world. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and give a big stretch. Dream big.
Exhale long.
Exhale long. And thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hope this has been helpful.
And our next video will be how to tackle noise during a retreat, which is a very important topic when you retreat at home. See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.